I thanks, Dan. This session is going to be recorded, and the BoulderNet group does put it up on YouTube. So this will be recorded. I better click on it. And I'm Mark Lauterbach. I had a 20+ year career in supply chain. I started out as an engineer student, and then I went into supply chain. I retired from industry as a chief procurement officer. I focused on supply chain transformation. So I changed jobs 7 times during my career. My first job, I got laid off. So I understand being laid off or riffed or whatever term we want to use. My second to last job, I did everything right, got my boss promoted to president, and he fired me. And he said, Mark, no performance issue. I feel threatened by you. I don't want you on my team. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And that was hard to take. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I don't recommend getting fired, but I knew I was the tallest midget. Everything I did was short. And there was a lot of bullying in the market in that company, which still goes on to this day. But from there, I went into consulting. I bought a recruiting business. And when I owned a recruiting business, as a headhunter or third-party agency recruiter, I learned that I only could help about 1% of people because I had to have the right job at the time. They had to have the right desire, interview well, and get hired. The other 99% of people I couldn't help at that moment. And I figured out too, I always had a job search plan my whole career. I had a professor, my favorite professor, told me, manage your career and manage your job searches. So I developed my own process, but most people don't have a process. If you think about it, hopefully a commercial pilot doesn't fly without a flight plan. Hopefully a product doesn't get developed without a product development plan, although we know that happens sometimes. But why do people approach their job search without a job search plan? And most people have a check sheet or worksheet. But the other thing is, this is hard. It's getting worse. I've been coaching for almost 7.5 years. I've helped almost 1,280 people successfully in their job search. It's getting worse, not better. With the applicant tracking system, the use of machine learning, and the dehumanizing of the process, how many people on the call have been ghosted? You've interviewed and you didn't get feedback. I'm coaching a VP, 7 rounds of interviews. He flew to New York for an interview, no feedback. 1 or 2 finalists, no feedback. When we figured out he got hired, he posted, the person hired posted on their LinkedIn, they got the job. 7 rounds of interviews and flew. He's still waiting to get reimbursed. So don't think it's just at certain levels this is happening, but it's a real problem. But it starts with, the connection. I think someone talked about using LinkedIn, but also, talking to people. And, for some people, who likes to talk to people? Okay, who doesn't like to talk to people? Be honest, right? But the reality is, introvert or extrovert, it's not your ability to talk. Extroverts gain energy from interaction. Introverts lose energy. It's not your ability to talk. And actually, I will say that introverts are better networkers. I'll go on the record and say that, and I can explain that. But they have a harder time to network, but they're better. They develop deeper connections and they're more targeted. But this is hard, and I've focused the last 7 years doing this, hoping I would retire from this. It's actually, there's more need and there's less, how do you figure this out? And when I said earlier, I'm not insensitive because I've been through this. I live and die with people I coach. I volunteer and give my time at LongsPeakNet. The thing is, you've got to be positive. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity. If you think about it differently, you're in between gigs, right? Is anyone here employed currently? Okay, Amy is. Okay, some people are employed. It's a plan B job. Some people could be here just checking it out or giving it back. But the reality is, it's an inflection point, right? You have the time right now to decide. I heard Kristen and some other people say they wanted to do something different, have a job with meaning, right? It's an opportunity to find that. And that takes work. And when I have people say, oh, I don't want to network, someone said, if you're not networking, you're not working. And someone said on the call, 80% of jobs are never posted. How do you find the hidden job network? If you don't look for it and talk to people, you'll never find it. You can't find on Indeed. Those are jobs not posted. So, but my background is helping people, and I just love what I do. I was hoping I wouldn't be doing this anymore, but then go back to supply chain consulting. But I really love helping people and connecting people. And so I'm going to put up my presentation. I've got a lot of content, and I do like interaction. The other thing, when you go into presentation mode, I only see 4 people, and I may be seeing 4 black boxes, and that's really hard as a speaker. And if I ask a question, answer, because I can't see heads nodding. If I say yes, you have to give me a yes or a no, right? I can't, unless your brain's rattling, I can't hear you. So I'm also going to put at the end of the presentation I'll put a copy of the presentation into the chat. I don't know if I do it now. Everyone will jump ahead and download it and not pay attention. So, any questions before we roll? And I've been up since 4 and I've had a lot of coffee. So some of you know I get rolling. I talk fast. The other thing, some of you know, last year I almost died. So I have an issue with long COVID. I actually talk faster than I used to talk. And sometimes it sounds like I'm slurring because I have some speech issues from long COVID. I'm actually going to occupational therapy. So I haven't been drinking this morning, I promise you. Any questions as we pull this up? Sharon, what would you like to learn today? Sharon Long.
I was trying to unmute. Mark, any tip that you can share on LinkedIn? Every time I've heard this a little bit before, but every time I listen to this, I learn something new about what you should put in your about section, what you should put in your header section, and how you maximize that first top part of your LinkedIn profile so people actually want to look further down.
Yep, I'm going to cover that. Thanks, Sharon. Is there anyone else on something they'd like to learn today about LinkedIn before we get rolling? And is everyone seeing my slide deck?
Yes, we can see it.
There is something. We can see it.
Okay, you're not seeing the slide, sort of just seeing the deck, correct?
Correct, yes.
Correct.
Perfect, okay.
Mark, I was going to ask you about the need for having the premier option in LinkedIn. Is that a necessity?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
I will talk, you're welcome. I will talk today. And who was that? Because I can't see everyone. What the person's name that asked
That was Lisa.
Lisa, thank you, Lisa. I'll talk about the
Thanks.
advantage of LinkedIn Premium. They're trying to create more advantages. Now I can see you because you talked again. When people talk twice, they'll appear in my feed, or they'll appear in the pictures, and someone will drop off. Yeah, I'll talk about some of the advantages. LinkedIn has been losing people buying LinkedIn Premium, so they're offering more features now. And one of the things I figured out yesterday is in talking to people about these LinkedIn features, advanced features, if you don't engage with LinkedIn, they're not giving you the features. LinkedIn's gotten smart. So if you're not engaging, if you're not posting, if you're not using it heavily, if you're not, I won't call you a super user, but you have to be doing a lot. LinkedIn's gotten smart. A lot of the new features I've pulled back, I'm going to talk about them, but if I demonstrate them, you don't have them. I can guarantee probably only one person has any of the advanced features on this call because you're not using them enough. So I'm going to demonstrate some features that are advanced. The problem is LinkedIn's gotten smart and they're not saying it yet. They're going to do an announcement in 2 months saying, hey, to get our new suite of features, you have to really start using LinkedIn a lot, which I think is smart for them. It's bad for you. It's bad for us. But there's some features that are really incredible. They're rolling out, but they really want you to engage. And they're also going to make some of those features, the premium features, you're going to have to pay. And if everyone's paying for premium, what's the current cost? Is it
$300 a year?
Yep. It's what is that, $49 a month, $300 a year?
Well, that was what my last charge on my credit card was for an annual membership. So
yep, and you can get it for free for 30 days. Be sure to cancel it without paying, because at 30 days your credit card gets charged and they will not give you a refund.
Yep. And one sort of dovetail to your comment about features not being available is it's a lot like Microsoft Office 365. If you don't use a feature of a particular like Word or Excel, it suddenly disappears from your menu. Now, if you search for it, you can drag it up and
Right.
get it installed. But it's it's a lot different than what it used to be, and it's all in the name of quote convenience unquote.
Right. And here they're getting smart because they're sharing features and people aren't using them. And so now they want to create a buzz. But I'm going to start here, and this may be controversial, but having taught this, and what I learned is everyone I coach, every meeting I have, I am a process guy. So I'm constantly updating my process. If you go to search, job search, job searching, job hunting, and you type process, you just type interviewing, the things that are on the top are the most read. And often it really infuriates me. Some of the things that you read don't work, but they're often read. I hate the term fake news, but things that are read a lot, if it's in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or Business Week or from an influencer, those percolate to the top. And sometimes those things used to work, but they don't work today. Like for networking, we've seen with the amount of people losing their jobs, people are more readily helping people again. There's been 4 distinct waves of how networking's worked during COVID and during our current situation. We're not yet in a recession. We're talking ourselves into one. And the reality is people are actually more helpful right now because there's a lot of hiring going on and a lot of layoffs going on. And a lot of the layoffs are not driven by a lack of demand. Companies are taking advantage of the opportunity to let people go because other companies are doing it. I can cite company after company looking at their annual reports. They have a huge backlog. They have good profitability because companies have raised their prices faster than inflation. 60% of Fortune 500 companies have done that. Gleefully, they talk about in their annual, their quarterly reportings and their quarterly calls. And that's part of what inflation is. But those companies are laying people off because they can. And now there are other companies that are suffering, like Meta and certain tech companies, and there's a whole reality of reasons for that. But the reality is that there's a lot of hiring going on, as a lot of firings going on. There's a lot of hiring going on, and companies are letting people go. And so one of your goals should be to look for some level of financial stability in the companies or organizations you're looking at over the next 2 years, because we are going to slide into a recession. There's no doubt in my mind, or I think anyone's mind here. But I'm going to start with, for those of you who don't know me, and please, I'll say some things that are controversial or maybe counterintuitive. If you have a question or, you're like, Mark, I think you're full of bull, please speak up and tell me. But for myself, I've approached this as, I was a job seeker 7 times. I mentioned that. I was a recruiter. Through my career of focusing on supply chain transformation, I rose to the rank of chief procurement officer, and I worked at Stolly Machinery. No one ever heard of the company, but they're responsible for the machines that form and print or decorate cans. They had a 90% market share down in Centennial. And so in my career doing these transformations and moving, I hired over 300 people to work for me directly. And I became a student of hiring because I wanted to know how to hire the best people. And I only had one class where the company paid for it. It was my first promotion to purchasing supervisor at Black & Decker. I got a 6-hour course in the company on how to hire. Most hiring managers got nothing. And everything after that, my companies went paid for. They said it was superfluous, right? You didn't need that. I paid for it myself. I went through behavioral interviewing. I paid for a 2-day seminar because I wanted to hire. Most hiring managers, less than 1% of HR professionals understand behavioral interviewing and why you do it and what questions to ask. If only less than 1% of HR professionals do, what's the chances that a hiring manager has ever been trained? You're asked a question, tell me about a time you did this. Tell me about a time you had a conflict with a teammate. What's the best answer for that? Especially if they don't know why they're asking the question. But yeah, I spent a lot of time understanding hiring. I owned a third-party recruiting business for 5 years during the Great Recession. The company invested almost $2 million in consulting fees because they knew our business would drop a lot, and they wanted to know how to best write a resume, write a cover letter, present a candidate, train the candidate, right? Coach the candidate, interview, and help them negotiate the best compensation. I took that and that was the basis for my job search accelerator program, which I've been updating for the last 7 years. So I used it for myself, and my program plus what I learned at FPC was the basis of my program, which is constantly learning. And I do this full time. So that's my 4 legs of my stool. I'm not a certified, I'm certified in recruiting and employment law. I'm not a certified coach. I'm not, I focus on this from the School of Hard Knocks and understanding how it works from the inside out, having done it 7 times myself. And being a process guy, a couple more intro slides, we'll jump right into LinkedIn. I think of it as a pyramid. When I ask people, what do they want and why? A lot of people can't answer that question. I know if I ask Jerry, because I've asked Jerry this question, why he wants to be a director of supply chain in biopharma, he can tell me. First, why supply chain, then why biopharma? He actually said a little bit during his introduction, but how many people, if I ask them, do they give me a vague answer or no answer? If I can do this or this or this or this. It's hard to help someone. It's hard to get your next professional position if you're not clear what you want and why, right? And then from there, how do you brand yourself? How do you present yourself as a professional in your field who has the right type of value creation to get hired? And LinkedIn can help you a lot in that respect, but also everything else, we think of a brand like Nike or Under Armour, or pick a brand, but you are a brand. And how does that brand get defined? Partially by you and partially by what people think of you. But from there, you have a resume, LinkedIn, executives have an executive bio, but then you have to have a plan. And from there, professional visibility, networking, using LinkedIn for targeting, groups, meeting people one-on-one, and the fortunes and the follow-up. And then when you have an interview, how do you get an interview, or how do you prepare for the interview, and how do you execute the interview? I'll give you one great question. I have people that don't want to do this. It's a biohack for interviewing. Does anyone want me to share it?
Yes.
I heard one yes. Give me a bunch of yeses. Get off your mics.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, some of you have heard this, but okay, the introductions. I'm talking to the hiring manager. You're talking to the hiring manager. You get done, you get that little bit of introduction. I don't care if you're on the video or in person. And I would say if Lisa Bender's interviewing me, I say, hey, Lisa, I've done a lot of research on the company, and I think I have a pretty good idea of what's important. But before we start, could you please share with me the top 2 or 3 challenges I need to address in the first year to be successful? You're asking them to tell you what you need to do. That's almost never on the job description, right? Now, Lisa, as a hiring manager, she's got 3 choices. She can answer my question. That would infer she knows the answer, right? And most hiring managers do. They may say, no, let's start with my questions. We'll work into that. And the third answer is they don't know, right? You can see it in their face, which is kind of a red flag. But then you ask that right at the beginning, and then Lisa tells me these things are important. I said, would you mind if I talk about 1 or 2 of those before we get to the questioning? What's Lisa going to say? There's intrigue. I said, I have the answer to your top challenges. And I've done this almost 300 times with paid clients. 3 managers refused to answer. And I said, no, let me start with my questions. And 2 managers didn't know the answer. And the rest gave the answer. And of that, almost all of them were happy when they said, can I give you a couple? Can we talk a little bit about where I fit to those challenges? And you biohack the interview. They don't care about their questions. You've now changed the tenor of the interview so that you're in control and you're giving them the information they want. What are they going to do with the next candidate? They're not going to change out the interview. They're going to ask you, they're going to go through their list of questions. And that someone said, well, Mark, that's bold. Well, I want you to throw out the bullseye on the dartboard. I don't want you to throw out the dartboard and guess. And most of the time, this comes out about 3/4 of the way through the interview. You have very little time to address it. Is everyone with me? You're tracking with me? And this has helped so many people get hired. And I just figured this out recently by what a client candidate did in an interview. And then she came back and said, this worked tremendously. So I've been testing it, right? So I guarantee, try that at the beginning, or maybe 10 minutes in, if you can't do it at the beginning, where there's a pause, jump in and ask the question. You want that answer early. You don't want it late in the interview or not in the interview, right? Make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Yep. So the last thing
Yes.
is, when you get an offer, if you're unemployed, 19% of people negotiate because they think they're at a disadvantage. 84% get something. Let me repeat that. 19% negotiate, 84% get something. And that could be base salary, sign-on bonus, different title, perks, different bonus structure. I mean, Todd Kostelnick, I think Todd came here a couple times. He negotiated, he had a very righteous offer. He negotiated for more and got more. And I think Todd attended here once or twice. He's in supply chain. But this is the way I think of building the pyramid, right? But you got to start with that strong foundation, and you got to know your why. You could be asked in an interview if I asked Rick, what's your drinking? What are you looking for?
What am I looking for?
Yeah, give me a job title real quick.
Software consultant.
No, software consultant. So if I'm a client, I'm talking to you, interviewing you for work, right? I'm going to give you a scope of work to bid on. I said, Rick, why do you love being a software consultant? You bet darn well better have an answer for that, right?
Right.
And that why will help you be more tenacious. And so it could, Jerry, his why, Lisa, her why. When I ask people why, it can't be about money only. I had someone tell me why I just want a good job that pays well.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, that doesn't inspire, right? All right, whoops, went the wrong direction. Okay, I'm going to talk here first and do a run through with this, and we're going to go to the advanced features. Most people are doing this wrong, and I want to talk about why and why you should do it right. As you think about your LinkedIn profile, and I was part of the team that developed LinkedIn Jobs. I was an early adopter of LinkedIn. I owned my recruiting business, and I got a call from LinkedIn. My sourcer, my sourcing consultant assistant picked up the call. She said, someone's calling from LinkedIn out in the Bay Area. I thought it was a prank call because it sounded like my best friend's wife. And I almost blew it because I'm like, come on, Tina, this isn't funny. And she goes, it was a blocked number. She goes, well, you can call me back at this number, this extension, and I'll be waiting for you. At that point, I shut up and listened. And then I got to be part of the team. So my last tech person left last year because Microsoft bought the company. I understand how LinkedIn works. It's not what you think. There's search engine optimization because almost half the revenues come from LinkedIn Jobs. You would think it must be your work chronological history would be the number one thing on the search engine optimization. It's not. It's your headline. Because the recruiter is putting in keywords, job title, hard skills, and soft skills, and that's what they're searching for. So it's your headline first, and then you go, Mark, it must be your chronological work history second. No, your about section. And most people, if you don't change your headline, it pulls the title that you have in your current job, which in this case, it was Jane Doe, Master of Digital Pharmaceutical Marketing. That's not keyword driven, right? And what you do is you've got 220 characters, use them all. LinkedIn does not have a grammar and a grammar feature, right? Spell check and grammar feature. Write it in Word or Google Doc, but use the vertical line, the text delimiter, and separate your keywords and your titles. And that way, the person searching for it will be able to find it. Then your about section is 2,600 characters. And I'll give you an example next, showing you how to do this. And you also get the handout. The thing is that you have to talk about yourself. Most people are too short. They're like, well, Mark, they're not interested in this. This is where your resume is a flat piece of paper, right? Here's your resume written in third person. It looks like everyone else's, right? Now, your LinkedIn gives contour. You talk about what you do or your aspiration of what you want to do. And then you talk about why. What's your why? Why are you passionate about that? And then you talk about accomplishments and your key successes, accomplishments in third paragraph. LinkedIn is dumb in the fact it's not like Google or any search engine. Think of Google 10 years, 15 years ago. keyword stacking, repetition is important. So you have a group of keywords. If, I know Sharon's in project management. So down there in a keyword section, you have project management, program management, cost management, budgeting, She's gonna have a lot more keywords stack in there. They'll also be in her chronological work history. And you should put your email address at the bottom. And most people say, well, Mark, recruiters will send me an email, or they will, with LinkedIn Jobs, they have God features, they can contact me. But most HR professionals are using their own personal LinkedIn, because LinkedIn Jobs is expensive, right? So they have to connect to you in order for you to, well, that was interesting. Are people seeing the green line now?
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. I didn't move a thing. So
Wow.
that was really bizarre. Not sure what happened there. I apologize. I'll try and figure that out as I'm going here. But the thing is, you put your contact information at the bottom, because that way they can email you. Don't put your cell phone number, because it can be scraped and you'll get digital robocalls selling you stuff. And this works because we use this starting at FPC as a recruiter. It's changed very little. They've expanded more and more characters. LinkedIn keeps giving you more and more characters. It started out 1,000, then 1,200, then 1,500, then 2,000, now to 2,200, now to 2,600. They want you to have more. You can create intrigue and interest. You want to create intrigue and interest, right? So if you look at this, and Kristen Unwin, I think, attended here. She was a director of customer success, program manager from Loveland, and she worked at a number of different companies. And so Kristen created her headline, senior program manager, texting limiter or line, director of customer success, etc. The interesting word integrity, we think that everyone should have it. The reality is, this is a real dog whistle for companies. Integrity seems to be falling. And when people put integrity in their profile, it actually comes up in conversation. Simon Wheeler, who has spoken at this group, talks about the use of the word integrity in his interviewing. And it really is interesting, because you'd think that's just table stakes. Now, Kristen Kratowski, I pulled hers. She has a full-time job, so she cut hers down a little bit. You can see the same concept.
Wait,
right?
you said it was table stakes? What was that?
Table stakes are just, table stakes being, excuse me, people think the word integrity, everyone has it. Why would you put it? That's what I mean by table stakes. It's just,
Okay.
it's just an ante. It's not, people think, Mark, that's so trite. So I used a Midwest term there.
Mhm.
But people think it's trite. It's not. I mean, do we have integrity in government? Do we have integrity in personal relationships? Isn't there a lack of integrity or loss of integrity and trust? It's interesting using that word, people mention it.
On the other hand, there's no way that when they're searching for people, that they're putting integrity
Oh, no,
in
they're
as
not.
a keyword.
Yep.
Right.
They're not. If you have room left. If you
Okay.
have room left. Yeah, because you're right. Integrity is a word that just people gravitate to. You're right. If you don't have the room to leave it, to do it, don't do it.
Hey, Mark, before you jump off this page,
Yep.
I bet you're going to talk about this, but somewhere in your talk, can you explain on Kristen Unwin's, where she has the green circle with the like a donut, and then Kristen Kratowski, she has a solid green. What
Yeah.
those mean and how you make that happen?
Yeah, well, the green is actually, do you have LinkedIn? Do you have LinkedIn mobile, and are you on it? Are you on LinkedIn?
Okay.
So are you on? Yeah, so that way you can tell if someone's on LinkedIn. And some of the advanced features I'm going to talk about, you have to use with mobile. That's a great question. And are people using the banner, looking for work around their picture?
Open to work.
Mhm.
Open to work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you're below a vice president, that is a positive thing to do. Once you get to VP, there is some negative connotation to that with some companies. I can talk to people about that, because as I talk to senior executives and chief human resource officers, there's a little bit of a snobbiness to that, but Yeah, that's a great question. And so the background too, use something related to your what you do, or use a background that's visually, visually good looking. Now, in the case of Kristen, she used Canva, and she added, you could do this in a bunch of different programs, but she added it's kind of, she's an HR professional, very inspiring, loves training and development. So she put believe and inspire. She put a quote there, a branding statement, right? You can do that too. If you look at mine, you'll see I have a branding statement in the back, but don't leave it blank. That actually has a small impact on your SEO. And now I'm looking at Kristen Kurtowski, and with Kristen, the about section, she also, if you've taken strength finders, how many people have done Gallup Clifton strength finders? Okay, a lot of companies are doing that now. She put 4 of her top 5 strengths. I don't know why she didn't put, wait a minute, no, I'm sorry, this isn't Gallup strength finders. She was putting things that she's responsible for. If you've done Gallup strength finders, I'd recommend you put it here, because a lot of companies are doing that assessment. It's psychographic. It's similar to DISC or Myers-Briggs, but it's psychographic, not personality based. And she talks about who she is, then why is she passionate, why she love HR, a couple examples of work. Now, she did throw in her predictive index here. If you've done PI, predictive index, PI, and she's a captain. So a lot of companies in HR, they're using PI, and there are a lot of companies using PI in hiring. That seems to be a trend going through the HR professional group right now through SHRM, is to use predictive index. So she does talk about that. And she has her keyword stack here, and then she has her contact, right? So you're going to get this works. People can add to it, but this is probably 2,500 or 2,580 characters or something like that. And if you look, so this, after using it time and time again, this works because you're engaging enough. You're talking about what you do or what you want to do and why do you want to do it. If someone's aspirational, or if someone's making a pivot, changing jobs, then why are you passionate about that new thing? And where's your transferable skills, right? So in your examples, you could talk about transferable skills, right? You've done something that new job would require. You're showing a transferable skill and an accomplishment. So LinkedIn is aspirational. It's not what you've done, it's where you want to go. Some of you are staying in your lane. You do just want to carry it forward. Others don't, but LinkedIn's where you want to go, right? Not where you've been. All right, so we're going to jump into new features. And these are ones that everyone should have, because they've now released the release on the fact you have to be a super user or high definition user. Has anyone used any of these features? Give me a yes if anyone has.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go through them. Okay, now, if everyone were to pull up, tell you what, take a second, open a second browser window, go to LinkedIn, and go to my name, Mark Lauterbach. So everyone take a second, open up a second browser and go to my name, Mark Lauterbach. And do you see, I should do this on, I won't do this on the monitor because it's different when it's yourself. But when you look at my name, right, do you see a speaker after it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everyone hit the speaker button. And tell me what it does.
I got a different Mark Lauterbach.
Do you hear it pronouncing my name, right? Did everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, you do this through you have to do this on your mobile app, right? But you go to if you're not using LinkedIn mobile, I prefer to use LinkedIn on my desktop or an iPad, because if you're doing invites, it's easy for you not to send a custom invitation, but you go to your LinkedIn profile. I've got the explanation right here, and you tap on your picture, And then you walk through this, and then you can record up to 10 seconds. Now, most people's names take no more than 3 seconds. I only said my name, but what if one person was a podcaster, and I just spaced here. It was that wasn't David. Who was a podcaster?
Me.
That was Steve.
Steve. Yeah, I've talked to Steve. Sorry about that. But Steve could say Steve Phillips, podcaster. You got, it's a branding statement, right? Because anyone that records now, Steve Phillips is a pretty easy name. Rich Harrison, but David, is it David Nebel or David Nebel, or it's different, right? How do you pronounce that? Right?
It's like rebel with an N. I can fit that into 10 seconds, I think.
Yeah, you got David Nebel, and then you can do your branding statement. You can talk what position you're looking for, what value to bring, right? And then when people listen to the recording, but does everyone notice there's another ring around my picture?
Yep.
Okay, so if you click on that, you should hear me talking for about 25 seconds.
Hello, my name's Mark Lauterbach, and I help.
Oh, go ahead and play that. Go ahead, whoever did that, go ahead and play it. So we all hear it.
Hello, my name's Mark Lauterbach, and I help businesses and individuals succeed by guiding them to unlock their hidden potential. This takes a number of different facets depending on what's needed. But I love talking to companies and individuals about their challenges. So please reach out to me, take a look at my LinkedIn profile, and let's talk. Thank you.
Now I'm going to re-record that because that was at 4:30 this morning. But the way you do that is, so let me just finish this. Your ninja tip is on that recording, don't just have your name unless you have a really huge name. I mean, Amy Altenberg, I think it's probably 5 seconds, so she'll have less. Some of you have longer names, but you record that. The marketing message is the ninja part of the back end of your recorded message. I love this when you've got people with really difficult to pronounce names, especially if you're interviewing. Everyone should be looking at LinkedIn profiles, but I've had some people I've coached where thank God the names were pronounced so they could actually do it right in the interview.
Lauterbach.
Yeah. So, but we go to the next slide, and here's where the recording display, and this will show you exactly how to do it, right? And this is your profile video, and you'll have this, but I'm showing the exact buttons. And you can re-record it, but you can also upload a video. So say you did a video on Zoom or Camtasia or any video program, right? You could upload a video and use that video, right? So you could, Steve is a podcaster, he might have some B-roll, some cool stuff in the background, or you could upload a video. So you don't have to just do it off your cell phone, which I did because I wanted to demonstrate it for everyone, right? And you can do it multiple times. I had a previous recording that wasn't good, so I just re-recorded it. But with that, people, when they see you, you can even tell them, this feature is going to become more ubiquitous, but you can tell people, hey, click on the ring around my profile. Not the ring
Because
around.
most people won't even know think to click it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't think hardly anybody knows that feature.
No, this is new, and they're going to start promoting it more. They're really getting pressure to make more money. That's a great point, Rick. And they're going to start putting out, and also their influencers are going to start putting out, use these features. So it's going to become more known, right? You can also tell people to click it, right? If you're networking with someone, hey, click the ring around my video. I did that, and people have been like, well, how do I do that? Right. But the other thing is it can be 3 seconds to 30 seconds. I was trying to make it long and it was early. I'm going to go back and re-record it. You don't have to go 30. If you have, we talk about elevator pitch or tell me what your value is. Right. And so if you have that tight, like if I know more about Sharon's a project manager. Sharon could say, I'm a project manager with extensive experience in aerospace, industrial, and these markets, and I'm known for delivering projects on time and on budget. You can do a branding statement, right? But you can practice it. You can record it in a third-party application, edit it, do whatever you want, and then upload it, or you can just do it with your cell phone. Authenticity is the key. It's not about, except for Steve, where he is in video production, or maybe Hari in marketing. It's not about it needs to be good enough, right? Not perfect. Don't seek perfection. You know, perfection is the enemy of finding your next position because everyone tries to be perfect and they don't do it. And I would love everyone to do this next week, and I will look at, I'll download the list, the Excel list, and I'll give you some feedback. You know, this is something you can easily do, and you can use that in, you know, use your pitch of where you create value. We all talked about on the call what we want to do. Well, how do you create value in that role, right? What makes you special? And you need to be differentiating yourself, because if we have 5 project managers, they're looking for the same type of position, your LinkedIn can really put you out there in front of everyone. The other thing is LinkedIn publishes a tech report. And at the end of, in January for last year, 1/10,000% of people created a custom video and posted on LinkedIn in their feed. 1/10,000%. Think about that. If you posted a video and said what you're looking for, you create this video and post it here, but you also post in your feed as hey, here's what you see people saying, hey, I'm looking for my next position. Why not save that with a video? Know, like, and trust, right? Video is the key, right? And so do this, and it will be, and if you want to send it to me in advance, let me look at it, or just do it, right? I'm out there, everyone that clicks on my profile will see I kind of at the end vapor locked, and I couldn't figure out to finish it because it was too early. I hadn't had any liquid death, right? So, okay, next, interview prep. And
Hey,
here,
Mark.
yes,
Hey, Mark, it's Amy. I just wanted to give you just a quick heads up. It's 10:22.
Yep.
And BoulderNet typically has been officially ending at 10:30. That doesn't mean you have to be,
Yep.
but if there's a message that you want to make sure gets out
Yep.
before those who do need to
Cool.
leave, I just
Yep.
wanted to give you a heads up.
Yep, cool. Yeah, great. 2 minutes here. And then I'll go to the end and jump back and take questions. Here, really quick, and I appreciate that, Amy. If you go through your main screen, tap on the jobs, and on the left-hand side, you'll see an interview prep in the left-hand column. You tap on that, you're going to see a list of questions. There'll be categories, and you can practice. Now they want you to, you can type in an answer. You know, you can solicit feedback, you can send it to people, you can open up for people to give you feedback. They want you to come down here and click premium. Like I've had premium in the past. So they want you to unlock sample answers and expert feedback. But there's 7 top questions you need to answer. You need to nail in every interview, and they have some of them here. I mean, one is, why should we hire you? I mean, you know, what is your greatest strength, and tell me about yourself. This question and this question you better nail perfectly. And the thing from this is, if you go down to, I mean, LinkedIn wants you to go back to premium because they say unlock sample answers with expert feedback. They do talk about AI. Their AI is they're going to take everyone's feedback and they're using that to generate the most common comments, which goes back to what I said earlier. Because if it's the most common, it doesn't mean it's the best, right? But you can request feedback from others, and you can get expert feedback if you have LinkedIn Premium. My question would be, who are the experts, right? But this gives you an opportunity to practice. You could send it to people you know and trust and say, here's my answer to this question. What do you think? Here's my video. What do you think? And unfortunately, I thought Lisa might be on the call, or Laura might be on the call today, the VP candidate. She had an interview. She went through it on the premium side. And so some things I'm doing, just throw some things out here. We'll go back to questions in a second. I do a free newsletter. You'll see this in email. I also have done a boot camp twice. I'm going to do it again and renaming it a masterclass. And a couple of people on the call were in that. And, you know, it's 5 sessions, and I'll send out information later today. I also today, someone challenged me to give answers to the top questions. So I threw that out, you know, for a low fee yesterday to say, hey, people, here's the best answers. But I know I went through this fast, but profile, let me drop, as I'm talking, I'll drop the link into the chat, and I'll go down from, let me take myself off here so I can get into the chat easily. But questions from the group or comments?
My question would be, like, I know that I go onto LinkedIn when I'm in between things. And I see a lot of people that are I wonder if a lot of people are doing the same. So I sort of wonder who's there, like is the market even there for software consulting
Correct.
rather than employers? for
Right.
example.
And who's your target market, Rick?
Yeah. My target market is probably smaller companies, small businesses that need software, but not they're not ready to hire or go to a big recruiting firm or go to a big contract house.
Right. So you'd probably be good targeting with chambers of commerce and getting a list of companies and starting there. And then you need to have a good LinkedIn presence, because some of those, I was at a small business forum last week and they're really pushing LinkedIn. They're telling people, hey, you should get out there in LinkedIn. It's a good place. So I would start there and then look to see if they have profiles. But I would start I'd start a different direction.
Right.
Yeah, you're spot on. Other questions? And I'll get this up in a second.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah, Sharon.
I think in your jobs search coaching, you have maybe a couple of examples of somebody that's posted one of the video profiles that you could recommend. I was going to say a name, but I didn't know if that was okay.
Well,
You have a couple of examples that they could look at.
yeah, I could share that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can send an email to the group and share some examples of profiles, give people additional ideas. I mean, I think that's a great idea, because in the master class, I go through a whole section of LinkedIn, and then I teach people. I've got videos and check sheets and worksheets and diagrams, and I actually give people feedback. So Sharon, I could do that, definitely.
I know that would be something I would like to look at somebody's, see how they did it, then prepare maybe a script that I would do, then record it and then upload it, and then and take you up on your offer to give a little bit of feedback. Because, if I do it myself with no feedback, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Right?
Sure. I'd be more than happy to do that for everyone on the call and just give them free feedback if they want to send me the video, and I can give them some examples of people who have done it. And I just dropped a Google link, so let me know. Let me know if the people can see that and download it.
Yeah, it's working. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. And Sharon, you're currently going through the boot camp.
Right.
Yep. And Kristen went through the boot camp.
I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand. I forgot how to get that little, but I have gone through the boot camp, and it was so great. I can't even tell you, just from, he really does have this systematic approach, and then he shared like the file for the cover letter. He has a unique way of creating the cover letter, which has at least got me 2 interviews, and just being a part of the group was also really great. One of the people in our group just got a great job today. We got an announcement. So everybody there supports each other, and Mark goes above and beyond. So
thanks, Kristen. And I'm challenging myself, because I've done one-on-one coaching, which is, $1,800 to thousands of dollars. And I'm starting to do some boot camps or master classes where I could coach more people at the same time. And like I have that $9 offer there, because I'm just like, hey, I'm not a charity, but it's like, hey, I give the process documents to create the answers based on what's working. And I just love helping people. So I'll for Sharon, what Sharon said, everyone, if you send me your video, I will definitely take a look at it and give you some feedback on the content. If you want to do that before you post or after, I can also share with the group some other people who have done videos and show you what they've done as an example. But this is an excellent thing to do, because you can use that same video in your feed. And the thing is, you've got to engage more. There's a new feature, for instance, if you're following a company, you can click on that company. And I don't even have the feature yet, and I'm a super user. And I got it demonstrated by one of my mentors who used to work at LinkedIn, and you literally can follow the company. It puts you at the top of the list. right? And when they're looking for people, it starts out with you. That feature is going to be godlike, right? Because if you're looking to work at a company, you can follow the company. If they're using LinkedIn Jobs, they immediately see you at the top because you have that feature, right? And engagement's the key, but not just commenting on other people's posts. You got to create original content and curate content, which I'll make a video available for people to understand how to do that. But I know I went quick, but please, any questions, my contact information is there. I'm more than happy to help. I love help, and this is difficult, but but we don't need to make it more difficult than it is. And the best thing to do is to be intentional about everything you do. Think about it. Where am I spending my time and why? And using LinkedIn, like the gentleman who is looking at consulting, well, he'll need a good LinkedIn profile. If he's going to consult with small companies, that's not the start. But Jerry, Kristen, Hari, all of you need to have an excellent profile and be engaging. And with that, I'll stop. I'm 1 minute over.
Hey, Mark, can you repost that last slide so we can get that information to take advantage of that?
Oh, the Google Doc?
Is the Google Doc the last slide that has your?
Oh, my contact information?
No, the one where you had the questions and things like that. The one before questions.
There's a link to the whole slide deck, and his contact information is at the end of it.
Okay, that's the one yep. Okay.
Yeah, Steve, did you log off?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, I just
No, I didn't know that link was. I didn't want to open that link. I didn't know what it was yet.
Oh, yeah.
That has the whole slide deck.
Yep, has everything.
Okay, never mind then. Thank you.
Yep. And any questions anyone has, reach out to me. I'm more than happy, and also connect with me.
Okay.
And LongsPeakNet is every other Tuesday. You have to pre-register. It's out on Meetup. And Krista is one of my favorite people because she's very open about mental health, which is important during this process. So thanks everyone for being here, and thanks to BoulderNet leadership for letting me present. Also, Don will be posting this, Don, when on BoulderNet, on the BoulderNet YouTube. Is that by tomorrow?
Probably by tomorrow, yes.
Okay. So there'll be a